Hi everybody, it's RPG Grandma, and we're continuing Warriors of Mars. We're still in the individual combat section, and so I wanted to make sure I went over a few things. I may have already covered them before, but we're going to go over them again just to make sure I didn't miss anything before I move on to all the mass combat stuff that we haven't covered. So wounds, the number of wounds possible for animals to take before death is indicated on the appropriate table, which we already went over. Men are killed at 1 wound above their level of fighting ability, and it takes 15 wounds to kill John Carter. So this is a definite difference between D&D and Warriors of Mars, and is more in keeping with probably chainmail system of thinking, which was chainmail uses d6s. This game uses d6s, whereas D&D has all the dice, and it has bigger hit points going on. So that's something to keep in mind if you do any kind of conversion between the games, is the economics of the hit points. So you'll have to bump up Martian characters who go to Earth, or monsters, and you'll have to nerf, so you have to buff if they go into, say, Blackmoor or Greyhawk or your own D&D setting. And you have to nerf D&D characters if they go into Warriors of Mars. That's how that would work. And you have to make some judgment calls on what that would look like. Because a first level warrior on Mars is very different than how a first level warrior is treated in D&D. You can figure that out by looking at the titles and stuff. There's definitely a difference going on in the thinking. So you need to make those concessions. Weapons. The table assumes that men are facing animals with long swords. If a lesser weapon is used, there is 1 point loss on dice rolls. With greater weapons, or when mounted, a 1 point bonus is gained on dice rolls. A mounted charge gains a 2 point bonus on the first turn of combat. A mounted lance charge gains a 3 point bonus on the first round. A mounted lance charge with a poison lance against a Sith gains both the 3 point bonus noted above and causes any wounded killed. I know I've covered some of this before. When men are fighting men, it is assumed that equal weapons are being employed according to the Barsoomian Code, which we already covered. If one opponent is Okarian with long sword, hook sword, and cup shield, the other opponent is not so equipped, he gains 1 point advantage on defense. And unless the opponent has a second weapon in his left hand to counter the hook sword of the Okarian, will also gain 1 point advantage in offense, attack. If weapons are not equal, the opponent with the greater weapon will gain 1 point advantage on both attack and initiative dice rolls. I know I covered all that before. Okarian is a yellow Martian, just so you guys know. Multiple opponents. In situations where several animals or men are involved, or when one animal or man is attacking several men or animals, or any other similar case, roll the dice for the attacker or attackers and extract any losses from the defender and defenders. Reverse rolls and use rule 1 as above. 3, if men versus men, check initiative for each defender, and if one gains it, all do. So when you're talking about size groups, and that is in the individual. So they aren't talking about group initiative It's not a new thing. I'm always surprised by people who think it's a new thing. I'm like, it's not new. It's been around forever. We used group initiative when I was a kid. So I know this has been around a long time. So group initiative, 1974, it's right here. It's right here. In individual combat, it's right here. Okay? So I wanted to carry that kind of hit on that stuff. All right? And kind of go over that, make sure I didn't miss any of it, which I don't think I had before. I think maybe group initiative was the only, that this little bottom multiple opponents in the more the role-playing individual was like the only really new thing. But try and make sure we cover everything. All right, so next section should be, I should started to mass combat and start explaining what things are. Like I do have explanations of characters and things like that. So I'm going to start plugging away at that stuff next. Anyway, everybody have a great day. More to come. We'll get to the little booklet. And if I do this right, you guys should be able to play just like it's 1974. Your way, with your house rules. Anyway, have a great day and bye.